Welcome back to the Dinar Daily, your source for tracking the latest news and conversations surrounding the Iraqi dinar. Today, we are examining a significant volume of chatter and analysis from various insiders and expert circles. These reports focus on the potential for an urgent and major shift within Iraq's financial system. The discussions suggest a scenario that could unfold at any moment, with the potential to completely alter the dynamics of the exchange rate. We will be breaking down the elements of these reports, exploring the narratives, and looking at the context provided by these sources. The central idea being discussed by these insiders is what they describe as a sudden electronic flip of the switch. This concept paints a picture of an instantaneous event rather than a slow, gradual adjustment that the public might expect. According to these reports, the scenario being hinted at involves the exchange rates remaining steady one moment, only to be updated the next, with no preliminary fanfare or widespread public warning. This narrative of a sudden, technologically driven change is at the heart of the current speculation and has captured the attention of many observers. A central component of these ongoing discussions revolves around the concept of Iraq potentially lifting the 3 zeros from its currency. This idea, often referred to as a redenomination or deletion of zeros, is described in these reports as a foundational step. The intel suggests this would not be a phased-in process over weeks or months. Instead, the narrative being presented is one of a precise technical operation. The speculation centers on this change being executed as a single event, fundamentally altering the notation of the currency within the financial system almost instantaneously. This topic remains a primary focus for observers tracking the nation's monetary policy developments. This is not just abstract speculation, according to the sources. Insiders cited in these reports suggest that Iraq's financial infrastructure is, in fact, prepared and positioned for exactly this kind of rapid transition. The analyses claim that the underlying systems, from banking software to central processing, are already equipped to handle an immediate update. If this information is accurate, it would mean the updated exchange rate could appear instantly across all of Iraq's financial systems once the command is given. This element of preparedness is a key factor in the narrative of a sudden, overnight change. Following such a change, these reports describe a clear, subsequent signal that would be given to Iraqi citizens. This signal is portrayed as an instruction to trust the official banking system and to begin bringing in their larger denomination notes, specifically the 30 notes, for exchange. The strong emphasis in these Guru reports is on the importance of acting promptly once this official directive is issued. The narrative being constructed is one where any delay or hesitation in following the official process could potentially lead to financial disadvantages for those who fail to act in a timely manner. The speed of this potential event is a recurring theme in the intel. The change is not seen as something that will unfold over a public holiday weekend or a business week. Instead, analysts are quoted as suggesting it may happen quicker than many expect, with some sources pointing to the possibility of the entire transition occurring within a single day, or perhaps even in the span of just a few hours. This makes the upcoming period a critical one for observation, as the moment of change, if it comes, could be exceptionally brief and decisive. To provide context for this urgency, the reports point to the current economic environment within Iraq, which continues to show visible signs of strain. A look at the macroeconomic indicators reveals a challenging situation. According to these analyses, the nation's fiscal policies have entered a deficit state. This is not only in the straightforward terms of government revenue versus public expenditure, but also in the more complex area of managing the overall currency supply, which adds another layer of difficulty to the economic landscape. The liquidity of the dinar itself is highlighted as a key and immediate concern. Alongside this, observers note the persistent challenge of meeting significant domestic obligations. These obligations include the regular payment of government salaries, pensions, and all the other expenses required to keep state operations running. These fundamental, non-negotiable expenses create a constant and significant demand on the nation's financial resources, putting a spotlight on the importance of cash flow and currency management for domestic stability. The intel being discussed suggests that perceived mismanagement within the financial system is now catching up to the Central Bank of Iraq. This internal pressure, combined with the external economic factors, could be creating a situation where sudden and significant corrective measures become necessary. This analysis is used to bolster the argument that a major financial adjustment, such as a revaluation or a significant rate change, is not something that would be delayed into the distant future. The conditions as described are reportedly priming the system to act quickly when all necessary factors align. Observers are also drawing parallels from regional markets, including nearby countries like Vietnam, to understand the potential pressures at play. For instance, reports note that Vietnam recently recorded a massive trade surplus, approaching $20 billion in just a 10-month period. This strong performance was largely fueled by its dominance in exports. Analysts observing this trend note that such significant trade imbalances often lead countries to reevaluate or revalue their currencies, aiming to bring them into closer alignment with global trade realities and to manage the economic impacts of such large surpluses. While the situation in Iraq is unique and driven by its own specific set of circumstances, the underlying principle from the Vietnam example is being applied by some observers. This principle is that governments may find themselves in a position where they must act quickly and decisively to stabilize their economy or boost public confidence. This context is being used to suggest that any sudden move in Iraq's currency could follow a similar logic. A rapid adjustment that is specifically designed to maintain market confidence and ensure economic stability in the face of mounting pressures. In-depth analysis of past events, however, provides an additional layer of insight and a note of caution. Reports highlight that historical shifts in other regional currencies have at times been mistaken for broad, systemic revaluations when they were something else entirely. For example, temporary adjustments that are driven by the interventions of global institutions, or as a response to specific political events, do not always reflect a true, fundamental change in a currency's value. These are often short-term responses to immediate external stimuli. Observers are therefore cautioning against conflating the kind of short-term speculation currently circulating with a true, systemic revaluation. Understanding this distinction is presented as essential for interpreting events correctly. The Iraqi dinar, according to this line of thinking, could potentially undergo an internal adjustment that appears sudden and dramatic to the public, but is technically a very carefully controlled and managed process, rather than a market-driven revaluation. Knowing this difference, the reports suggest, helps investors and citizens interpret the signals correctly. The upcoming potential flip in Iraq's financial system, as described by these sources, is expected to occur quietly, without any public celebrations or widespread fanfare. Analysts are stressing that this will likely be a predominantly internal event, one that is visible first and foremost within Iraq's own financial infrastructure. Banks, government institutions, and local financial centers will reportedly experience the change immediately, as their systems are the ones being directly updated. This internal, first approach is seen as a key part of the described plan, The rest of the world, including international media and foreign investors, may only learn about this change after the fact. The narrative suggests there will be no fireworks, no major primetime media announcements, and certainly no coordinated global celebration to mark the event. This quiet execution means that for those watching from outside Iraq, timing and information sources will be crucial. Understanding the internal cues and monitoring official communications from Iraqi institutions will be essential to acting promptly when, or if, the event occurs. Experts cited in these reports also point to prior instances in other countries where currency adjustments were made seamlessly and with little disruption. In some of AHE's historical cases, the change was implemented so rapidly that even local residents and businesses only noticed it after it was already fully implemented. This reinforces the idea that the dinar's potential adjustment could happen, as the reports say, in the blink of an eye, leveraging modern technology to bypass the need for a slow, public rollout. As insiders describe it, the mechanism is entirely electronic, automated, and specifically designed to minimize disruption to the public and the economy. The goal of such a system would be to ensure that the entire financial network is updated instantly and accurately, for investors and citizens alike. This technological aspect means that the moment the switch is flipped, timing becomes everything. Those who are prepared and informed may be able to navigate the transition, while those who are unaware risk being caught off guard. Financial analysts in these reports are also emphasizing the importance of understanding Iraq's broader economic conditions, which go beyond just liquidity concerns. Iraq is currently managing a complex portfolio of domestic obligations, including the massive and recurring expense of government salaries and the operational costs of running the state. These relentless pressures make the decisions handed down by the Central Bank of Iraq highly consequential. These are not abstract policy choices. They directly impact the nation's stability and the welfare of its citizens. If the system signals a rate change, as the reports speculate, banks and other financial institutions would have no choice but to act immediately in alignment with the newly updated exchange rate. This operational non-negotiable adds a layer of urgency for all dinar holders to remain informed and vigilant. Any delays in understanding or responding to the new financial landscape could directly impact their ability to participate in the exchange process under the new terms, highlighting the critical nature of receiving timely and accurate information. While some observers may look at other regional currencies for comparison, experts are cautioning against drawing direct parallels. For example, the case of the Kuwaiti dinar is often mentioned. However, reports clarify that the Kuwaiti dinar underwent temporary adjustments that were managed under specific international oversight following a period of conflict. These events were distinct from a true, internally driven revaluation. They were fluctuations caused by market-driven demands and significant political interventions, while the underlying economic fundamentals remained largely intact. This distinction highlights the critical importance of focusing on Iraq's unique situation, its specific economic drivers, and its particular political realities. Assuming that similar patterns from other countries will simply repeat themselves in Iraq could be misleading. Understanding the specific nuances of Iraq's own currency system, its central bank policies, and its domestic challenges is considered critical for making informed decisions or forming accurate analyses in the coming weeks and months. As the situation continues to develop, recent insider information suggests that formal notifications to Iraqi citizens regarding an exchange process could happen soon. While exact dates remain uncertain and are not officially confirmed, some sources have pointed to the possibility of notifications aligning with bank operations that immediately follow major public holidays. This speculation also includes mentions of mid-November as a period of interest. Analysts note that any such notification period would, logically, precede the actual ability to exchange dinar notes at official centers or banks. This logical sequencing, notification first, exchange second, is seen as a necessary step to ensure that the system is fully ready for a smooth implementation. It would also serve to ensure that all citizens are properly and clearly informed of the procedures and requirements before they begin to access the banks. This preparation and sequencing would be key to preventing chaos and ensuring an orderly transition. For anyone holding the currency, this makes timing, preparation, and a clear understanding of the official process absolutely critical. The potential revaluation, or flip, as it is being called, is expected to be executed with technological precision. Experts consistently describe it as a switch. One moment, the system shows one rate, and the next, the updated rate is in full effect across the board. This description heavily emphasizes the technological readiness that is believed to exist within Iraq's financial institutions. The systems are reportedly capable of handling such a rapid, sweeping change without causing significant disruption or system-wide crashes. This capability would, in turn, ensure that citizens who act promptly and follow the official instructions can exchange their notes efficiently and correctly. Conversely, those who delay, either through lack of information or hesitation, may face additional challenges or complications. This possibility is what highlights the extreme importance of staying alert, monitoring credible information channels, and being prepared to respond as soon as official notifications are issued by the authorities. There is also significant speculation about the role of external pressures that might be affecting Iraq's currency decisions. Global economic trends, such as shifting interest rates or changes in commodity prices, undoubtedly play a role. Furthermore, trade imbalances with neighboring countries and regional geopolitical developments all contribute to the complex environment in which Iraq's leaders must make these critical decisions. These external factors create a dynamic and often unpredictable backdrop for the nation's monetary policy. Analysts suggest that Iraq is currently navigating these complex financial dynamics with care, attempting to balance its pressing domestic needs, like salaries and stability, with international expectations and obligations. This delicate and high-stakes balancing act reinforces the reported need for a measured, internally controlled execution of any rate changes. It is not a decision that can be made in a vacuum, and it requires investors and citizens to remain aware of these larger factors when evaluating potential outcomes. Rumors about specific dates, such as the mid-November timeframe, continue to circulate within interested communities. While it must be stressed that no official confirmation exists for these dates, the fact that such specific speculations are circulating highlights the importance of monitoring credible channels for any official updates. Being prepared ahead of time by understanding the potential process as described in these reports could make a significant difference for those who are looking to exchange their dinar notes promptly and efficiently. Observers note that once this metaphorical switch is flipped, the excitement and immediate activity will primarily be visible within Iraq. The nation's financial institutions, local banks, and currency markets will be the first to reflect the changes. For external investors and the international media, coverage will eventually report on the events. But by the time that news breaks globally, the initial phase of the transition will likely have already passed. This sequence underscores the internal nature of the described event. Understanding this sequence of events is presented as critical. The model described is one of internal adjustments first, followed by global awareness second. This structure, if implemented, would be designed to ensure a smooth transition within Iraq and to avoid unnecessary panic, confusion, or disruptive speculation in the international markets. It prioritizes domestic stability and operational control, allowing the new rate to settle internally before it is processed by the wider world. It is also essential to recognize the profound significance of currency liquidity in this process. Once any rate adjustment occurs, Iraqi dinar notes, presumably the newer, smaller denominations, must be available in sufficient quantities to meet the massive demand of an entire populace exchanging their old currency. This ensures that citizens can access their funds without delay, and that the banks can manage the physical distribution of cash efficiently and effectively across all their branches. Analysts emphasize that liquidity management is a core component of the central bank's strategy and a key factor in the potential success of any revaluation or adjustment. Experts caution that mismanagement in this area, or any significant delays in providing cash, could have serious consequences. If citizens fail to act quickly, or if the banks are not adequately prepared with sufficient liquidity, some individuals could risk missing the opportunity to exchange their notes at the new rate. This scenario underscores the urgency of being informed. The potential for such a sudden adjustment also highlights the central role of technology in Iraq's modern financial system. The electronic systems, as they are described, are designed to implement these changes instantly, which significantly reduces the need for slow, cumbersome manual intervention. This automation ensures a high degree of accuracy and speed, allowing the system to handle high volumes of transactions without becoming overwhelmed or crashing. It is a critical distinction from how such an event might have occurred decades ago. Investors and citizens must therefore understand that this is not being described as a gradual, manual process that will be telegraphed for weeks. The narrative being shared by insiders is one of an immediate, electronically executed event. While speculation continues to mount, one thing remains clear in all these reports. The potential re-evaluation is being described as imminent. Experts consistently use the metaphor of a switch that could flip at any second, with internal signals guiding the process. In conclusion, the Iraqi dinar may be on the verge of a rapid and unprecedented adjustment, at least according to the volume of reports and analysis we are seeing. Experts and insiders describe it as a switch that could flip instantly, altering the exchange rate and signaling a critical moment for Iraqi citizens and investors worldwide. Being informed, prepared, and vigilant will be essential in the coming days. Stay tuned to the Dinar Daily for the latest updates, alerts, and analysis as this breaking story unfolds.